You know that line between science fiction and reality? Well, what if I told you we've already crossed it? Today, we're diving into a technology that started with a wild dream of building spaceships out of thin air, atom by atom, and ended up as something that might literally be working inside your body right now. This is the incredible world of nanotechnology. So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the revolutionary vision that started it all. Then we'll get into its dark side, the gray goo nightmare. After that, we'll uncover the nanotech you're probably already using. Then we'll see how the real nanobots are finally starting to show up. And we'll wrap up with a look at what our nanotech future holds. All right, so to really get this, we've got to go back to the beginning, to the single book published way back in 1986 that basically created this entire field from scratch. See, when Eric Drexler wrote Engines of Creation, he wasn't just thinking about smaller phones or faster computers. No, he was imagining a complete and total overhaul of human civilization, a future where we could build anything we wanted, not in huge smokestack factories, but cleanly, perfectly from the ground up. This was the heart of his idea. These microscopic robots he called assemblers. Just imagine tiny machines that you could program to literally pluck individual atoms from common stuff, like dirt, water, or air, and arrange them into, well, anything. A flawless diamond, a perfect steak, a rocket engine, all of it built with absolute precision and with zero waste. But here's where it gets really fascinating. The guy who dreamed up this absolute utopia, he was also the very first person to warn us about its catastrophic, world-ending dangers. Yep, in the exact same book that promised us this perfect future, Drexler also gave us a complete nightmare. He laid out this thought experiment about what could happen if this power got out of control, and it's a concept that has basically haunted science fiction ever since. He called it gray goo, and the scenario is chilling. It goes like this. Imagine a nanobot that's designed to build copies of itself using carbon atoms. Now imagine it gets loose with no off switch. It would just keep going, consuming any carbon it could find, plants, animals, you, me, turning the entire living world into a sterile, lifeless sludge of nanomachines. Now, to be clear, most scientists today think this specific scenario is pretty unlikely, but the idea of it has absolutely shaped the ethics and the safety rules of this field forever. Okay, so spoiler alert, the world was not devoured by gray goo. Phew. Instead, the whole field of nanotechnology kind of shifted. It pivoted away from that grand sci-fi vision into something way more practical, more immediate, and honestly, a lot closer to home than you probably realize. Right, so when we talk about nanotech in 2026, you've got to get that image of little robots with gears and claws out of your head. For the most part, today's nanotech is about engineering materials at the nanoscale to give them these incredible new powers, making stuff stronger, lighter, and more efficient than we ever thought possible. I mean, just look at this stuff. You have graphene, which is being used to make aircraft parts that are insanely strong but weigh almost nothing. You've got carbon nanotubes that are leading to electronics so thin and flexible you can literally roll them up. But the real game changer for our story is the one at the bottom, the lipid nanoparticle, or LNP. This tiny thing is a giant hero in medicine. And this is where it stops being out there science and gets, well, personal. Because if you've had an mRNA vaccine for COVID-19, or if you're following the incredible new cancer vaccines, then guess what? You have already had nanotechnology inside of you. Those vaccines use lipid nanoparticles as tiny protective packages, little armored cars, to deliver their genetic instructions safely to your cells. So, if today's nanotech is all about these amazing materials and delivery systems, what happened to the actual nanobots, the little machines that Drexler dreamed of? Well, they are emerging. They're just not what anyone originally pictured. And this really captures that fundamental shift. The original dream was mechanical, right? You can picture it, little metal robots with tiny gears and claws. But the reality is so much more elegant. It's biological. It's chemical. Instead of trying to build microscopic machines from scratch, scientists realized it's way smarter to just program the machines nature already invented, molecules. And here are two just mind-blowing examples. First, DNA origami. And I'm not kidding, that's what they call it. Researchers are literally using strands of DNA like it's yarn to fold and build these tiny little boxes. These boxes can carry a payload of medicine and are programmed to only open and release it when they detect a specific cancer cell. Then you have magnetic microswimmers. These are tiny metallic particles that can be guided through your bloodstream with magnets from outside your body to swim right up to a dangerous blood clot and break it up. It's just wild. So, this all leads to the one big question we all have. When does this amazing stuff go from the lab to my local doctor's office? Well, we are right on the edge of this revolution. The very first human trials for these kinds of targeted nanobots are happening right now. By the early 2030s, experts predict we'll have what they call smart therapeutics, nanobots that circulate in your body, sensing if your blood sugar is high and automatically releasing insulin, or dissolving a clot the second it forms. Now, as for Drexler's original Star Trek replicator, that's still firmly in the long-term science fiction column for now. And make no mistake, this future is being built by real companies and research labs as we speak. You have BioNTech and Moderna, who are now world experts in those LNP delivery systems. You have a company called Bionaut Labs pioneering magnetic bots to treat brain disorders. And you have the brilliant minds at Harvard's Weiss Institute pushing the absolute limits of what's possible with programmable DNA nanobots. So in the end, the grand dream of nanotechnology didn't die. It just turned inward. It's becoming a reality not by building our world, but by rebuilding our bodies from the inside out. Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to chew on. When we have tiny, intelligent guardians constantly patrolling our bloodstream, fixing us before we even know we're broken, how does that change our relationship with our own bodies, with our own health? What does it even mean to be human then?